Time to check in on all the royal news, and joining us is News Corp columnist Angela Mollard. Angela, it's great to see you.
Great to see you too.
King Charles is set to become the first monarch since 1977 to open Canada's parliament. He'll be just the second monarch in Britain's history to participate in the ritual after late Queen Elizabeth's Silver Jubilee tour nearly half a century ago. Now, all eyes will, of course, be on the King, but what can we expect?
Well, look, obviously this is a very important moment. He's got to be very careful, of course, because he needs to be impartial, politically impartial. So he'll give this address, but this is hugely significant. This is a real act of soft diplomacy because we know that he has lent into meeting with Trump. He's invited Trump back to the UK. And of course, Donald Trump is suggesting that Canada become another state of America. So to show sovereignty and to support the sovereignty of the Canadians, his role there, I think it's really smart of him to have to go there. But there's a secondary element as well, which is that the popularity of the royals is waning in Canada, and they are now, in the face of this attack from Trump, seeing the monarchy as having their spine. So it's actually a smart move for the monarchy, for the King and Queen to be there as well, because it shores up their reputation, yes, and the relationship between them and Canada
and their relevance. Yes, let's talk about Meghan Markle, because her popularity in Britain has reached a record low. Her favourability rating has dropped to just 20%, meaning it's only Prince Andrew who's more disliked than her. This is according to a YouGov poll which found the public perception of Meghan Markle was now at its worst since it started tracking the data back in 2017. So despite the Netflix shows, the podcasts, Brits rather just aren't buying it.
That's absolutely right. And I think it's really noticeable whenever I'm in the UK or whenever I'm speaking to a friend. I used to work there for a decade. Speaking to British journalists, they just have no time for her at all. And I think it's that element of the fact that she rejected the monarchy, and they're taking that pretty hard. In Australia, I think we have a more balanced view of her. We're curious of her, and certainly there's a different approach between younger and older people. Younger people see her more favourably. Right. Older people have no time for her at all. But as you say, 2017, when she first came on the scene, she was huge. We loved her. She came down to Australia. They could do no wrong. She was this new brand of princess that we were all excited about. And now for her to be seen this unfavourably, I mean, if you think about it, when Mex had happened and she left the royal family, her favourability was at 55% there then. So to slip even so much after in these 5 years is extraordinary.
Yeah, absolutely extraordinary. And now Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have reportedly created their own royal household, royal staffing structure to make it more of a hierarchical system. So according to the Daily Mail, Meredith Kendall-Mains will be at the helm of a team of 11 operating out of Montecito in the UK. And this comes as the couple continue pursuing their professional lives separately. Now, they've been slammed for this new royal structure after they've spent so much time rubbishing the royal family. But what do you make of this move, and what does it tell us?
Look, it's really interesting. What it tells us is that everything that's gone beforehand has failed. But I don't necessarily think it's just the structure. And what I think is interesting about this is we're moving from a Montecito model to a monarchy model. This is very much how the royal family run it. But central to any relationship is how you actually relate and communicate. And now, unless that has changed, I can't see this model working for them. That said, there are great people. There are people who have worked, as you say, Meredith Mains is at the top there. And look, it is more hierarchical, so she's above all those other people. So you're hoping that there'll be some level of sort of leadership within it that will work for them. But the fact is that they cannot keep staff, so they have to do something differently. They don't just have to hire differently. But I think the point you make about the hypocrisy that's seen is that Harry, of course, has criticised the courtiers, the way the monarchy works at length, and now he's finally recognising that model does actually work. And we're looking at, people like Sir Clive Alderton, who work for the King and Queen. They are so brilliant at their job. Mark Boland, who was the PR, the comms expert, who saw Camilla reintroduced to the royal family after Diana's death, and for her to be where she is now in public imagination, say compared to Meghan's ratings, shows the work that a good PR can do. So hopefully it'll work for them, because they need to get ahead, not just on branding, but on how they are seen globally.
Yeah, and it's hard to see them actually getting ahead, because it's just getting worse for them, just as we reported on with the popularity. But turning our attention to the far more popular royals, Prince William and Princess Catherine have welcomed some adorable new additions to the family. Their pet dog, Orla, has given birth to 4 puppies. Very exciting news for the family. Do we know if the puppies are here to stay?
Well, who knows if they'll keep one? I think they'll keep one of them. Orla is the dog that they got from Catherine's brother. His dog, Ella, had puppies and Orla was one of them. And James Middleton, Catherine's brother, has spoken a lot about how the dogs and the pets help them with their mental health. Look, I can imagine those 3 kids in the, out at Windsor making a hard play for a second puppy in that household. I mean, who can deny a little kid a puppy? But I don't know if they'd be keeping all 4. That would be, I mean, it's not the biggest house that they live in. They've only got a 4-bedroom house. So, but I'd love to know who they bred this dog with, because it's not like they send it out into the park like everyone else, do they? And breed it with whoever comes along. This would be well-bred dogs. So,
absolutely,
yeah.
and I'm sure there'll be a bit of pressure coming from the children, but we'll see what they do. Now, finally, the story that everyone is talking about, the Beckhams. There are concerns that David and Victoria Beckham fear that there may be no way back at this point between them and their son Brooklyn. This is after Brooklyn shared a pretty pointed message on Instagram. Brooklyn and his wife Nicola are understood to be at the heart of this fallout with the family. Now, Brooklyn seemed to make his feelings clear on an Instagram video where he claimed that he would always choose his wife, Nicola. Look, it's a sad situation, but it certainly appears that it's not getting better anytime soon.
No, and I think one of the hardest things is that the optics on this have always been that the Beckhams are such a close-knit family. We know from watching that amazing series on that. I loved that, and it showed the closeness of the family. And Victoria and David are very much about seeing to be unity, harmony, that they are, that they all love each other. Now, this is really problematic. But what I think is also interesting about it is that it mirrors, obviously, the royal family, what's happened with Harry, but it also is highly relatable for other families. People are always falling out with families. Brooklyn Beckham is 26. As you say, he's put up this Instagram post saying, I'll always be, on your side. Or what did he say? I'll always choose you, baby. You know what? 26-year-olds are not the same as 36-year-olds. He'll be making different decisions in a decade's time. And I'm concerned that their ability to not find a way to repair speaks volumes about how they might not be able to repair with each other should any falling out occur. When people hold their ground like that and don't have that ability to communicate their way out of it, it means that the rest of their relationships don't usually flourish either. Yeah, no, that's a very valid point. Angela Mollard, thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour. Great to talk to you. You too.